lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and I got another holiday comic to talk to you guys about. There was no way I was going to do this holiday season with holiday themed comics without talking about Hellboy. I mean, there was plenty of issues I could have talked about. It's all these winter specials that come out. But I decided to talk about Krampusnacht. Mignola did not illustrate this, he did write it. Adam Hughes is the artist on this book. And this was the black and white sketch cover. And it's probably one of my favorite Hellboy stories that Mignola didn't draw. Usually my favorite Hellboy story is Mignola is the one that did the art. But this one, I absolutely love. I think it's a different take on Hellboy. Adam Hughes has a very, very different style than Mignola. But it doesn't mean that it didn't suit this story well, because I think he did a fantastic job. And like I said, story by Mignola, Adam Hughes is the artist, Clem Robbins letters, and the title of it is Krampusnacht. And when you think of a Hellboy story, you think of like heavy shadow, very dark. But this one doesn't start off that way. It's kind of bright. We're not seeing a lot of shadows, and that's what kind of makes this a very unique Hellboy story. Because usually when you see Hellboy, it's colored by Dave Stewart. This one's not. This is all by Adam Hughes. And this story takes place with Hellboy going into this town in Austria, and this takes place in 1975, and that's always important. All these Hellboy stories are not always linear. They're not always in order. They jump around in time. And, you know, he's greeted by a ghost that is asking her to save his boy. And then he sees a toy in the snow. And as he continues to go, he hears his name being called by this house off in the woods. Greeted by this old man, Willem Schultz. And as he walks in, again, very bright, very, like, the room is very lit. There's not a lot of shadow work in here, which, like I said, very unusual, but also kind of intriguing to see a little bit different of a take. He asks Hellboy to stay for supper, and he says, was this about the business at the church the other day? So we don't know what happened prior. We just know that Hellboy is coming here because he was asked by that ghost. And then we find out what happened, right? Saying how you scared the crap out of a lot of people, and just right here with the way the light hits, this dude is looking creepy as fuck. And he purposely did that when he found out that Hellboy's in the neighborhood. He wanted it to get his attention, and it was all a ruse to kind of lure him there. As they have a drink together, he talks about how this old man had told Father Miller that he wasn't really human, and in fact claims to be the Krampus. And if you know the Krampus, in some folk tales, he is the one that he's the opposite of Santa. He's the dark to Santa's light, and he kills little kids. And I love this too, how he said it's not a very good likeness. There should be a lot more blood. And Hellboy's talking about, he's telling the reader, in case you're not familiar with the Krampus, who the Krampus is, and how, over in America they have Santa Claus, but here they've got Saint Nicholas and his monster sidekick, the Krampus. While Nick's handing out toys, Krampus hits the bad kids with sticks and rides them around in a basket, so they'll be good next year. But he says, when I've had my hands on them, they don't ever see another year. And if Hellboy doesn't believe him, he'll convince him why. Throws the skull, and boom, this is where we get the dark, more heavy shadow. This is what you're used to in a Hellboy comic. And he's telling him the story of this skull, and that's where we see the toy that was in the snow earlier in the issue. Now, Adam Hughes, he's a fantastic artist. Usually, you'll recognize him more from like his Catwoman covers, his Wonder Woman covers. Done a lot of cover work, but you rarely see him do interiors. But he knocks this issue out of the park. He recently did another Hellboy one-shot, Seven Brides, that came out about a month ago. that again was also really fantastic. And Hellboy's appalled at this, and that's where we see the reveal of the Krampus. This is one of the creepiest fucking drawings I think I've ever seen Adam Hughes draw. Like I said, he's usually drawing like beautiful women. That's like his bread and butter, right? But we see that the Krampus, he feels like he's been punished being sent to Earth. He's from hell, and he wants Hellboy to send him back. He's tired of it. He wants to be killed. Hellboy's happy to oblige, and we see them duke it out. He says, "You can't kill him with the gun. That's a man's toy. He's a prince of hell. You have to kill me with your hand." And progressively, as he's fighting the Krampus, he gets more and more terrifying. What I really love too is the heavy use of the green in the background, which is not kind of gives it like an eerie glow to the whole fight scene. That's really dope. And he just keeps screaming out, "Kill me, kill me!" And like I said, he's getting progressively more terrifying. His eyes are glowing red. We're seeing the skulls of all the kids that the Krampus killed over the years, the toys, the mementos that he saved from the kills. And then we see all of the dead children talking to Hellboy, kind of just asking, pleading with him to help them. And even this one, as he comes and he hands Hellboy a knife and says he's just so tired, help him, telling him to help the Krampus, which is kind of odd. And Hellboy, again, like I said, happy to oblige, kills the Krampus, and we see all the bones falling out of the cupboards. All these dead children finally being put to rest and are able to be at peace now that the Krampus is finally dead. But what I found really interesting too is as he's dying, his body transforms back into that of a goat. And then as he goes back to BPRD headquarters, he's talking about what happened. Professor Brutenholm is telling him, that is it the Krampus or is it just a demon goat, aka the Yule goat? And so they don't really know which he is, right? Like who can say who he really is? And we see a young Elizabeth here, and I love this too because she's saying that it was a pretty weird story for Christmas, and I would agree. This is a weird Christmas story, but again, I love Hellboy, and I thought this would be the perfect comic book to share with you guys. And I love how he tells them there's always going to be Christmas stories, there must always be ghost stories at Christmas, and that now those poor children can finally receive a proper burial and rest in peace. All the toys from the children that were killed, the Krampus buried below. And then next, right as we end the comic, we get some Christmas memories, and I kind of like this. We get a young Hellboy. Christmas 1946, he got a Lobster Johnson decoder ring. Christmas 1995, the year Abe got drunk. It's hilarious. And then Hellboy sitting with Alice. Get some sketchbook pages. Just the design of the Krampus it's horrifying, dude. I loved Adam Hughes' take on this. And that is Hellboy Krampusnacht by Mike Mignola and Adam Hughes. It's been another Christmas holiday themed issue, sharing with you guys. I got more coming. Make sure you continue to check out all these episodes I got coming up and the ones that came before it. And if you're not already, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. Throw your comments or suggestions down below. Or you can email us, thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you're notified every time a new episode goes up. And on that note, I'm out.